first of all, good afternoon, everyone. I hope people are not feeling sleepy. I will still be on time, so don't worry. Disclaimer first, all the views expressed here are own, should not be considered as an organization representation. So when it comes to cybersecurity and data protection, it goes hand in hand. Deepak already talked about it. चोर और बचाने वाले दोनों सेम ही मेथोडोलॉजी यूज़ करते हैं, बट डिफरेंस सिर्फ इतना है कि चोरों के पास पैसा ज़्यादा होता है, सीसोस को उतना पैसा मिलता नहीं है आज की डेट में इंडस्ट्री में. सो वी कांट प्ले अराउंड विद मल्टीपल टूल्स. we have limited set of tools with which we need to work upon.
और चोर जो है वो रीइन्वेस्ट भी करते रहते हैं.
या आज की डेट में तो ये एक ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम बन चुका है, एंड दैट इंडस्ट्री इज मच मोर regulated than any other industry, I would say, where there is a trust and there is belief that they will get something and they will distribute equally among themselves as well. So कोई किसी की पाई खाएगा नहीं इसमें. So yeah, coming back to the topic on the data protection and cyber security, when it comes to looking at the new technologies and deploying new technologies, both goes hand in hand, because data is not only the fuel for the organization, it is the real-time fuel for the organization. आज की डेट में वो नहीं है कि डेटा है आपके पास तो आप उसको एनालिटिक उस पर चला के आप कभी भी कुछ एक नया प्रोडक्ट निकाल दो और उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आप अपना बिजनेस रन कर सकते हो, न्यू मेथड्स या न्यू एवेन्यूज बना सकते हो रेवेन्यू के. बट दिस इज द रियल टाइम डेटा, बिकॉज मार्केट इज चेंजिंग सो डायनामिकली दैट यू नीड टू have real time data to change your dynamics as well of the business. We see the new startup companies which are there, and they have how they have changed or shaped the country as of today. So when it comes to adopting a new technologies, there are certain things which definitely need to be looked at. Is first of all identifying the vulnerabilities. Before adopting it, you should look at it that what kind of vulnerabilities the product has. First, it should fit in your environment. Second, you should look at the vulnerabilities which are there. It should be vulnerability free, and you need to adopt the practice of the least privilege when adopting a new technology, because sometimes what happens is even we buy the new product, अगर आप Cisco का firewall दे दो, router दे दो, we keep the default as it is. I remember there was an event I was attending, and there was one case study presented by somebody from a cement company. They had a factory, there was a firewall which was there for almost 10-15 years. Then they realized that it has to be changed. And when the time came to change that, nobody remembers the password, because जो administrator था वो तो कब का नौकरी छोड़ के जा चुका था, and nobody knew क्या है. But eventually वो password administrator ही निकला जब उसको change करने गए. But that's the world we are living in. We are too dependent on people. Sometimes we don't keep the data or change the default credentials, and that's where the vulnerability comes into the picture. Then comes the data encryption. The way the world is changing, the APIs being created, the APIs are getting adopted, the data which is getting exchanged between two organizations or within your function itself, different functions within the organization, they need to be encrypted. You need to ensure that the encryption has been inbuilt and that has been embedded and that has been tested when you're adopting a technology as well. Because that, if it is not encrypted, man-in-the-middle attack or the side attack, which Brijesh talked about in his session, can lead to different kind of a scenario, and you may have a compromised situation. That need to be looked at. End-to-end encryption of the transaction plays a very important role, and that need to be kept sacrosanct. Then comes the software updates. We generally tend to see that people still believe that N-1, N-2, N-3 they can live up to, but today even the N is not safe enough. So ensuring that it is up to date, it gets the important, at least the security updates get pushed here on the systems, and whichever software has been getting adopted should have the latest patches installed on that. That plays a very important role. I talked about the least privilege, but accordingly with that there is a subset of access control. The role-based access control has to be clearly thought through and have to be implemented within that. Otherwise, you will have a situation where people have over access, which will lead to the data leakage, and that will leave it to you in a different situation again. The data minimization plays a very important role, because when you are even doing a POC while adopting a new technology, it is very important that you look at the data which has been given for the POC environment itself. It should not be the real data on which you do the POC. You should do on a sampling basis and use a different data, which is the POC data, not the actual data of the customer where you do the POC. Anonymization and masking is also very important. Sorry?
Can you please quickly wrap up, because I just realized that the organizers have sort of shrunk our session from 40 minutes to 30 minutes.
Okay, sure. Compliance also plays a very important role, so I'll probably pick up only the important points now. So compliance, like Deepak talked about the regulatory requirements, so every regulator has brought their guideline. Within IRDA, they have defined it as the technological access review, which needs to be done before adopting a technology, and there has to be a risk which has been associated with that, and we do a score, we give a score to that particular technology, and then only we adopt it and then implement within the organization. That needs to be done. And the most important thing which I wanted to focus upon is building human firewall. You need to build human firewall within the organization, because unless you educate people, you will still have a vulnerable environment, and the vulnerabilities will keep on flowing in, the data will get misused and will get circulated within the organization or outside the organization as well, if they don't know the importance of data. Why it is important? Because for finance data is important, but it is crucial for the organization. For HR, employee data is important, but for hackers, that's the fuel. For that, they will get money for that. And that's where people need to know that how that information can be stored here. So I'll stop here, Deepak.